Doing any type of therapy or body work well, where you're actually experiencing real-time shifts in your physiology and sustained changes in your nervous system, your identity, and your behavior, is a skill set that you need to cultivate. You cannot just go and have somebody else do it for you or heal you, and you actually have to be a very active participant. And let me give you some very clear examples. I'm going to give you an example of how I go into somatic therapy and work with practitioners that are not somatic based, and how I go into my bodywork sessions. So number one, I'm actually going into a therapy session after this. This is a practitioner I've been working with for a while who isn't really somatic based. She's a lot more spiritual. And so because I know that, and I know that for me, being in my body is really important, I need to self-facilitate connection with my body so that I can make the experience somatic for me while still being able to gain the wisdom, the insights, and the way that she's honestly able to call me on my bullshit, which I love, which you don't get with some somatic practitioners. And so number one, just taking responsibility for that and making sure that I have some time before going into a session to actually do a little bit of orienting, do a little bit of grounding, noticing what's going on in my body. And on top of that, usually throughout the day before I have a session with her, I'll be journaling around specific patterns that I want to bring to her. So right now, one of the things that I'm coming into contact with is how the intensity of my desire for romantic partnership has often in the past made me prematurely attach to men that seemed really great and are great guys, but they might not, I just haven't given them the opportunity or didn't give them the opportunity to show me who they were over an extended period of time. So this is an organic, real, mature desire for partnership that has been hijacked essentially through anxious attachment, disorganized attachment. This is a pattern I've been working with for a long time, and I've worked with it with her. And so what I've come to and what feels new that I want to bring to her is I want to actually feel the entirety of the yearning in my body for the kind of partnership that I want without being pulled into, I wonder if it could be with this guy. I wonder if it could be with that guy. I want to have a pure, unfiltered, completely direct experience of the intensity of how much I actually desire this without being overwhelmed by it. Me, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, would never be able to come to a session this prepared, this connected to my body, and actually knowing what I wanted to receive from it. So it is a skill set that I have developed through essentially ruthlessly connecting to my body from a place of love, but it is a skill set that I've developed. And now let me share about body work. So I see an osteopath. I think osteopaths, when you can find a good one, are probably some of the best practitioners that you can work with. They're very nervous system informed. They do not shift your body super quickly into different places. And generally speaking, they're more holistic. So this woman that I have found is absolutely incredible. So number one, something that I recognize is when you work with a body worker, it takes your nervous system and their nervous system multiple sessions to be able to co-regulate at a level that allows deeper physiological shifts to happen. So number one, already I have been able to use my own nervous system understanding to decondition myself from the idea that I'm going to go in for 1 or 2 sessions and it's going to radically change my body. I recognize that this is a long-term commitment and I am co-creating something in my body with her, which means that I also need to be an active participant and I also need to verbalize what is happening in my body, what my needs are, and where I'm at. And so here's how I do that. So I'm going to see her in 2 days, which is going to be a Friday, and I'm going to be in my late luteal phase. I know from working with my nervous system, I literally teach this, that my capacity for neuroplasticity or shift in my body is at its peak during my luteal phase when my body is well resourced, when my body is nourished, and when I feel safe. So things I'm going to make sure that I do is the day before and the day of, I'm going to eat a lot of food. And this is really important when you're in your luteal phase in general, but I'm not going to count calories. I'm going to really nourish my body so that I actually have real caloric energy that is going into my physiology, into my cells, that is helping my nervous system actually have enough physical reserves to be able to take on the work that we're going to be doing in my body. So that's number one. Number two, also knowing where I'm going to be in my cycle, I have a greater level of sensitivity, meaning that it might actually be more beneficial for me. I'll see when I get into the session to do a little bit more of superficial work because I need less stimulation in order to create a lot of change during the luteal phase. What I also know, and what I know because I've been tracking, working with my body, is right now I'm focusing on a lot of liver support. So this is something that I'm going to ask her, can we work on maybe doing 1 or 2 liver pumps, which is when you're working with the fascia and the lymphatic system and you're helping to literally pump the liver, but also create space around the liver after we have established more of a sense of safety. And then the last thing that I want to comment on this that I have implemented with her, again, this was literally me suggesting this to her and she's been incredible. And she's like, most people don't do this, which I also think is why I've been able to see such amazing results, is when it comes to having another person touch your body, it is really important from a somatic perspective that you are the one actually inviting them in. And so something that we have implemented is at the beginning of the session, I lay down and she waits until I say, yes, I am ready to start now. That is when she puts her hands on my body and we start to work. And she's incredibly intuitive as we go. I share the sensations that are happening in my body. I tell her when I start to feel stimulation. Like one time she was working in my T-spine and she was at the pericardium, which is related to like your heart and your sympathetic nervous system. I was like, wow, I'm feeling super activated. And we were able to work through that in the moment. So she's also very intuitive and incredible in that way. But this her waiting for me to give permission to touch my body has been an incredible way of creating somatic safety right off the bat in the session, because I'm the one deciding when we start that. So this is a skill that you develop. This is the skill that women develop when they work with me, when they come in my programs. I highly, highly recommend that if these are skills that you don't have, or you don't have the capacity to interact with practitioners in this way, that this becomes a goal for you. And if this is a goal for you and you are ready to take it seriously, I would love to work with you. I would love to invite you to consider coming into my programs, because this is the level that I work at with women. And I really believe that this is how we are supposed to be able to tend to our bodies. We're supposed to be our own medicine women. And that when we are able to interact with the world, our bodies, practitioners in this way, you will always feel confident and safe in your body because you are so well resourced.